from coast to coast, giving you nothing but the most. No need to boast because it's Los the host.
I'll get into that. Okay, we back, people, good people. This is Los the host. Originated. Kevin asked me, our guest asked me, where did Shield come from? And let me just be very, very clear for our audience so we'll be able to make sure we're on the same page. Shield came from an idea that we had a long time ago. And we started off as brothers, being able to help other brothers. We started off on a conference call. One thing led to another. We did Zoom, and then Zoom turned into YouTube. YouTube turned into IG, and now we're here. And so my thing is, the brothers had a lot of stuff to do, and so we kind of, went this direction where we go interview style. And so I'm Los, the host, back at you for another show. This is a really, really good one. So I want to introduce my good friend, right? Kevin Douglas, right? And so before I bring him on, this is a really, really good brother with a good story. And this is in respect to Father's Day. I think he has a lot of gems to give us. And I'm so glad that he's able to join us. So without any further ado, Kevin Douglas. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. So there's Kevin. Kevin.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh,
Thank you.
no problem. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for being here. Look, let's jump straight into it, man. Like, introduce yourself to the people, man. Tell the people about you.
Sure. My name is Kevin Douglas. I am a father first, because the girls won't let me be anything else. No, I'm a father first. I love being a dad. Father first. I'm a writer, actor. I've produced in the past. I've directed in the past, but writing is my main. Writing and acting are my main things.
So let me take me back to the beginning. How did all of this start, man? Because obviously you're very, very versed. So take me back to the beginning. Tell me about your childhood, man. Take me in there.
Sure. So I was born in Toronto, Canada.
Wow, Canadian.
Yes, I was born
like
Toronto.
SGA.
What's that?
Like SGA.
SGA.
That's okay. So NBA finals in the NBA finals right now is the MVP, the best person in the world, right? Best player in the world. And he just so happened to be from Canada as well.
Oh, he played for the Raptors?
He plays for Oklahoma City Thunder, and his name is Shai, right? And Shai Gilbert Alexander, and his nickname is SGA. And I thought you didn't know him because
I know. I just
the Michael Jordan of this era.
I lost all credibility. Just like
it's okay. We still respect you. We might edit this out, but go ahead.
Yeah. SGA. Okay. All right. So Toronto, born in Toronto, and in Toronto, and then I'm an American citizen, so nobody call anybody on me or anything. So,
it's sympathetic, man.
It's crazy right now. This is insane. Maybe we'll get into that later. Okay, but yeah, Toronto, born in Toronto. My mom and my dad are Jamaican, both Jamaicans. And when she was 10, she separated from my dad, divorced, and then we moved to Texas, where she married her high school sweetheart from Jamaica. They reconnected. Yeah, they reconnected. They were both trying to come to the United States together, but that he went first. I guess he went by way of Cuba on a boat or something. This is and he gets to New York, and he's like, I don't think it's gonna work out. I don't know how we're gonna. I don't know how to get you here. I'm here legally, and then she said okay, and then she just lived her own life, made it to Toronto because it's easy to get into Toronto. They're very lax on, or back then it was just really easy to bring people in and then bring your relatives in, and and they allowed it. They wanted that. Canada wanted it to be a diverse, inclusive nation. and because more people at work, you know how it works, you know how it goes. And so she lived her life, uh, met my dad, my biological dad. Then they didn't work out, and then she met my dad who raised me and adopted me when I was 2 or 3. I visited her this past a month ago, and she had the wedding album. I could see myself. I was like I'm in the wedding pictures.
So hold on.
Yeah, no, how far back did you want to go?
No, you said okay. You said 10. Who was 10 when they came over?
Okay, so at 3, I was in Canada, met the dad, and then for 7 years, he was my dad, and then they had my brother, and then when they didn't work out, and they got married, and then they divorced, and then she linked up with the high school sweetheart in Texas, and then she took me, and we went to Texas. And then
Oh,
her plan was to go back and get my little brother, to go back, steal my little brother, and then we were all gonna go live together in Texas, because in Canada, the woman can, she had more. The way she explained it, she didn't give me all the details, but the way she explained it is that the mother would just get the kids, right? But my dad found out what she was trying to do, and then I had to quickly come back because I was in Texas illegally with her. I had to come back and act like I've been in Canada this whole time. And then we went to court, and I went way.
no, we already here now. So yeah, you went all the way in there from the beginning. So
Right.
let's take off
I
the
don't
ball.
waste time. I don't waste time.
I mean, do you
Drama.
remember what are your memories about your biological father then? So you were only 3 and your brother was 1?
So my biological father, he was out of the picture, the bio dad. And then my dad, Victor, my dad, I'm saying names, oops. Right. So he adopted me, and then my mom and him were together for 7 years, because I was about 3. And they were, living life, and he took care of me like I was his own. Like, that's something people still say to this day. Like, it was like I was his son. Like, I was always attached to him, I was always with him.
So
And
your brother is by your biological father or your father that raised you?
father that raised me.
Got you. Now it
Yeah.
makes sense. But do you have any memories of your biological father then?
No, let's see. I was born, and he wasn't there. Like, he wasn't in the hospital. He didn't, he knew about me. He's always known about me, right? But he didn't come back in his picture until I found him years later. Like,
So was he here in the States or was he in Canada
he
or
was in Canada, and by found him, I mean my mom knew about him and just needed to get someone's phone number, and didn't do it for a very long time.
okay, so okay, let's take a step back, please. Let's take a step back. Let's debrief right quick, right? So
Okay,
you told me about your childhood. You told me about your siblings.
sure.
You only have one brother?
No, I see how it's everything is more complicated. So I
I
have
know.
I have one brother by my dad that raised me, and then her high school sweetheart, I have another brother. They got married in Texas when I moved to Texas. Okay. So after she divorced my Canada dad,
No. So we talking about 3 dads?
it's 3 dads.
Oh, see, I was good. So for my audience,
Okay.
let's let's take this from the beginning, right?
Yeah,
Biological dad and your mom both are from Jamaica. Yeah.
correct.
Okay, so they conceived you and then had this grand oso plan of let's come to the States, right?
Yeah.
He get to New York, right? And
Mhm.
she was stuck in Canada. And so, right,
Yes. Well, yes. Yep.
it didn't end up working out. And before you hit the age of 3, she ended up dipping and going to Texas and found another guy
No, in Canada,
in
she
Canada.
was she met another guy,
In
and
Canada,
that guy adopted me.
too. That's
Yeah,
father
this is
number two.
that's father number 2.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. So he adopted you, treated you like his own.
Correct. Correct.
And
And he was also Jamaican.
he
Yeah.
was also Jamaican.
Yeah.
And so now we are in Canada with father number two, right?
Hmm.
And
Yep.
so father number one definitely out the picture. We ain't heard from him no more. Now we have father number two, and he also had a child coming in already, which is your brother, right?
Hmm.
And so they did not work, and you were they spent 7 years together, and then she met her high school sweetheart and
Right.
moved.
They reconnected. Right. And he went from New York to Texas.
Right.
Right. Yes.
So she ended up, was any of these men, were she married? Was she married?
Yeah. She married the one that adopted me and the high school sweetheart.
The last two.
Yeah. The last.
Last two, she was actually married. And
Mhm.
so tell me about the memories from 10 and under, 3 to 10. How was your memories about your, I'm sure that's who you classify as your father, right?
Mhm.
If I
Yeah.
say Happy Father's Day, that's who comes to your mind. Is that correct? Or
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
tell me about the memories with him.
Memories, they were good. He loved music. He loved what or sorry, what I remember about him is every morning before school he would be listening to oldies. And I think that's why I love oldies so much because I heard
When you say oldies, tell the audience what we talking about.
60s, 70s, Motown, doo-wop. Yeah, so he
60s, 70s.
yeah,
Okay.
so he was listening to all that, and then into 80s like Lionel Richie, like he was into all that. So I remember that about him. He was always a provider. Like he took care of his family. Like this is something he prioritized, like taking care of his family. He was great with his money. He kept his money. He knows he was really good with his money. Is really good with it. He's still around. Uh, and yeah, he was loving, and I would see him every other summer. The deal was he kept my brother and my mom kept me, so I would see him every other summer. And what I noticed, and I don't know if other kids with divorced parents, if this happens to them, but I would get I would kind of get special treatment, meaning that it wasn't like he treated me better, but he knew that he only had me for a few months. And I was old enough to see that because my brother's 6 years younger than me. So when my brother would come to Texas when it was his turn, every other summer we would alternate. He would come and visit in Texas. My mom would kind of do that, but it didn't bother me because I recognized that she's only got him for a few months,
So
right?
tell us about the special treatment.
It, yeah, she would be on me about stuff, even though we both did something wrong. Like we both messed up the room, but blame me for messing up the room. Kevin, go do the dishes. Like, what about him? He's not doing the dishes,
Right.
And just showing. Not she didn't not show me love, but I could just sense. I guess the only word I can come up with is there's probably a guilt that comes with having this child and then not being able to be with them except in the summers, every other summer,
I love it.
right? So
Love it.
there's probably a pain and a guilt, and I even at a young age I recognized because she still showed me love, but it would she would get Kerwin stuff and buy him stuff but I guess I sense that I have her the rest of the year, so why should I be jealous of that? You know,
Can you tell me how do you feel that affected you, the divorce?
I was fortunate because I did have the dad in Texas was great, right? He I'm trying not to say it. Okay, he was great. He was great to me. I will say that he had other kids, but he was great to me. Okay. And then the dad in Canada, he was also great to me, but the divorce didn't. I just wasn't. I didn't really let it sit. You know what I mean? I didn't really sit in the, oh, woe is me, and I no disrespect to people who are who sit in that. I guess I was just too busy, and I was happy. I was as a child, I was pretty happy, even considering the circumstances, right? At that age,
So
right?
let's talk about that. What do you feel made you happy? I mean, I mean, what made you happy at 10? Why was you walking around happy go lucky? And what was some of that happiness? Where do you think that came from?
I think my mom was very protective. Like she wouldn't let me do stuff. She, she, even though I was a latchkey kid, it was like, get home, I'm gonna call you. You make sure you're home. I think because I'd stay home, and it was just me for the longest time because my other brother wasn't born until he's 12 years younger than me, so it was all me, and I would find a way to entertain myself. Like I would TV, or I'd be trying to copy, what Eddie Murphy's doing on SNL, or, I'd be trying, I was always trying to find a way to entertain myself. And I think that carries into becoming a writer now, because my stepsister even said that when she would visit as a little kid, she said, like, you would be the director. You tell me what to do and say, okay, we're gonna get all the toys. They're gonna line up and they're gonna play war with each other. You're on that side, I'm on this side. We're gonna use the marbles and we're gonna hit each other. And like, I would create the games. Like I think I just found a way to. I was just found a way to yeah, enjoy myself and be happy, and that carries over to, even, I'm jumping ahead just a little bit, even like in college. Like, I go to college, and we couldn't afford it. I went into debt going to college. I went to DePaul University. I went to Chicago, and
So I said,
yeah, that's right, right. And so, see, I know the Bulls. I know because I was there. The Jordan years.
I get it. That's a good team to know. I
Right.
get it.
Right. I remember walking around when it was the first time they won. Okay. Anyway, or 96. 96. Was that the first one?
No,
The
91.
second one. Right. Second one. Sorry.
Right, right.
Yes. I guess I don't know. All right. So, even in college, I was determined I'm going to make this happen. I think that carried over. Like, I wasn't going to sit around and not play and figure stuff out. Same in college. I'm not going to not go to this university because we can't afford it. We're going to figure it out. I'm gonna work 2 jobs, and I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it work. And figure out financial aid and get those grants.
So let me ask you this:
Mhm.
do you see some of that creativity in your kids now? And talk to me about
Yes.
your spouse and how did you meet and how many kids you got. Come on, let's jump into that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, I'll jump ahead. So, okay. So, did high school in Texas. That was interesting. It was good, but it was Texas.
So is that insinuating that it was some racism going on? And
Yeah. Yeah. No one was trying to kill me,
no,
but
no, let's touch on that.
that's
No,
progress. But
let's touch on the Texas.
yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, let's touch on the Texas and tell me the difference between Texas and Canada.
Sure. Canada, what I remember about Canada as a kid is, on one street, you'd have, across the street, you have someone from Trinidad. Next door, you got someone from Iran. They're from Russia. They're from Jamaica. Like, it was like the UN on every street.
Right.
Yeah, and when people got together, like when you got together with your own, it wasn't this idea of like, we're better or we hate this group. It's like, oh, it's just familiar. Oh, we know the Jamaicans. Oh, the Russians are all together. Oh, the Ukrainians. It was just, that's just what I remember. We would all be playing hide and go seek, and people left doors open. It was just it was different. And then we come to Texas, and we had to kind of learn, especially, well, all three of us, because the stepdad was Jamaican too, and didn't know, though he'd been in New York, he was working all the time, so he didn't go to school there. So what I'm learning at school, I'm teaching them. So I'm learning about the history and about slavery and all of that. And on top of that, my high school, the Confederate flag was the flag. That was the flag. They flew it until my senior year. And Malcolm X had just come out. Of course, Malcolm X, and everyone was wearing these X's on their hats, right? And so they had this big forum about getting rid of the flag, the Confederate flag. And the mistake you make, don't let high school kids come to a forum. They're just trying to skip class and get on a mic and say foolishness. One guy got on there, and who I thought was a friend. He said, they wear their X's and we'll wear ours. So he wanted to keep the Confederate flag. And so it was crazy. But my year was the last year they flew it. It's on my diploma.
What year?
That would have been 94.
Wow.
94. So
what part of Texas?
This is Fort Worth. So North Richland Hills.
Got you.
Fort Worth. Yeah. And look, there's some of the greatest people that I'm still friends with to this day. But there's racism. There's there's things that I didn't even realize I was putting up with, because you don't because I'm from Canada. And then I slowly start to learn it. And then what the crazy thing, Carlos, maybe you know this too, is moving to Chicago was like a different kind of racism, because
segregation.
It's segregation, and it's hidden. Like people will smile in your face, and then in Texas, I know right away. Right away, they'll say something like, "Man, you people are funny." It's like, okay,
right.
Okay.
Right. So going to DePaul, finally getting. So were you a good student?
I was fine. I had to do 2 years of junior college, so my grades weren't great. So I was studying acting, because I did theater in high school, which, by the way, was my saving grace. Like that was my love. That I was like, this is what I want to do. In 8th grade, I knew I wanted to do comedy, because I loved Eddie Murphy. I remember going in and seeing Delirious on a Blockbuster. We were in Blockbuster renting a movie, and they were playing Delirious. And my mom was like, I can't believe they're playing, because Delirious does not have I think every other word is a curse word. And she walks away. So if you can picture a younger me going, oh, I want to do that. Just and then I look up Eddie Murphy, and I'm he was on SNL, and those the heyday, those 2 years where he was on it, and he was just incredible and saved that show, really. And then I just fell in love with Eddie. I was like, I want to do this. Eddie and Richard, and so sorry, I jumped backwards. So I do high school, I do a couple years of junior college, and then I audition to go get into DePaul, because it's a theater school. So it's a conservatory. And so you have to audition. The first 2 years you can get cut from the program if you don't make it through. And so I audition, I get on the wait list. I'm like, oh man. And so I was like, oh well. And the other schools I didn't get into that I wanted to. I wanted to go to SUNY Purchase. I thought about Cal Arts. Cal Arts, I didn't put enough stamps on the application, so they returned it. so that didn't work out. I didn't get into North Carolina. But then 2 weeks later, I got my letter, and I was at DePaul.
Wow.
Got into DePaul. I didn't know anything about DePaul except the Bulls and Oprah. And my buddy, whose dad was a pilot, we're still friends to this day, Nick. Him and his dad, they gave me their buddy pass to go check it out before I went. We went, and I loved it. My mom was, of course, my mom's like, you're my baby, and you're about to go to this other city that you've never been to. And I commend her, because she's been protective this whole time, right? But she knew that my heart was on going to the school and going to Chicago. I didn't know anything about Chicago. I knew I wasn't going to be in Texas. Texas is not my, it's a great place to visit. That's not my speed. I'm a city guy.
Is that where you met your wife? DePaul?
Yeah. So do DePaul 4 years. Then I start doing Second. Do you know Second City?
No.
Okay. So they do like sketch comedy. Chicago's the sketch comedy and improv mecca, whereas New York's probably the stand-up mecca.
Right.
So sketch comedy, like like in Living Color or Dave Chappelle, but live on stage. So for your audience that doesn't know, right? So so we met doing that. So after I graduated, I started doing sketch comedy, and her and I met doing that. Then me and I had a partner, a sketch comedy partner, who's like writing for TV now. She's big time. She taught me how to write, and her and I formed a sketch comedy duo. And we did all the sketch comedy festivals in Canada and here. And we wrote a show together. And then Tam, my wife, audition, when she tells it, she auditioned and we didn't cast her. Then someone dropped out and she auditioned again, and then we didn't cast her. And then finally she got the third round. She was the bottom of the barrel when she tells the story. But she should have been the first because she was incredible. And yeah, I had a talent crush on her at that time. At that time I was dating someone, so we didn't do anything. But yeah, we met doing that. We met doing the sketch thing. I how far should we how okay, I'm gonna just
Oh yeah, come on, we out here. It's me and you talking.
we you and me talking.
Yeah, it's me and you talking, man.
So she does that show, and this girl who I was in love with, like she like broke up with me, and like the second time she broke up, third time, but whatever, she broke up with me, and this was it. This was we were living together, but yeah, what broke up, and we go to Tam's house to do the cast party, okay? And I'm looking at her like big, nice condo, and half joking, Carlos, I was like, "Wow, you need a roommate?" And she goes, "In a month." And so, and I said, "Oh, perfect," because right now I'm living with someone that I've broken up with, and we're trying to figure out how not to live together. And so, yeah, that's how. So we were roommates for just friends, roommates, friends, and then we slowly just fell in love.
How
Don't.
did this happen? Oh, I need to know. Cause so look, listen, let's just be honest. It's a lot of people that watch the show and they
Mhm.
want to find love, right?
Yeah,
And it's crazy how you found love, as you were going through a breakup, heartbreak, because you say 3 times and you were really madly in love with this girl. So I'm sure your heart was broke. And I'm sure you all spent a lot of nights talking about what happened before and, consoling you and et cetera, et cetera. One thing leads to another, and then we in love. So
yeah.
take us through this situation just so it don't seem like a fairy tale, please.
Sure. Okay. So here's something I'll tell you. We when she broke up with me for the last time, excuse me, I also like I thought maybe it was because I haven't asked her to marry me, right? So I buy this ring. I go to Zales. I buy a ring, and I'm like, yeah, maybe. And I've talking to a friend who I don't think I gave him all the details because he was kind of like, man, that might be it. Maybe that's what maybe that is what it is. Maybe you should. So I go to Zales, and when I go to Zales, I go to this young this young what do you call it, the Zales customer employee, and I say, hey, is there a return policy? And she said yeah, but she's not gonna want to she's not gonna say no. And I was thinking, well, I mean, you don't know my situation. Well, okay, thank you, that's very sweet of you.
Thank you. Right.
So so of course I go, I ask her, she says no, and I leave like right away. I leave there. And at this point, Tam and I are just friends, right? She's because I'm waiting for that month to be over, but we've been just talking as friends, hanging out. Because she also went through she's also just broke up with her boyfriend like a few months before. And so after she broke up with me, I had a choice. I can call my buddy and go to his house, or I can call Tam and go to her house, right? To just comfort, talk it out, all that. And I knew if I went to my buddy's house, I would probably just be bashing her, right? And not getting answers and not really digging deep. It would be about, man, how we are when we're young and dumb and angry. And we just say stupid stuff. But there's something in me that's like, I need to get a female perspective because this is crazy. And so I go to Tam, and she just listened, right? She just listened. She offered feedback. She gave, and then we watched The Notebook, which is crazy. And we're just friends, so nothing happened. But we talked about it, and she just listened, and it was great, and it was the better move than to go to my buddy, because that's what it would have been. We would have just been bashing her, and it wouldn't have offered given me talking to Tam gave me a chance to really reflect on my role in this, right? Like what I could have done differently, or maybe I shouldn't have gone back with her. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that was so yeah. So then I start moving with her, and
So
I
hold on, wait, before
oh,
we go that part, I
okay.
really want you to tackle the whole, because see, most men need to hear this
Mhm.
because we too tough for our own good sometimes, right?
Yeah,
So can you tell us, how did you deal with the rejection? That's what I really want to know.
yeah.
How did you deal with being broken up with 3 times? And I'm sure you got on your knees. Will you marry me? You thinking this gonna save and salvage the relationship? And she say, no, I'll get up and no. Tell us about the rejection.
I I mean, it hurt. It Yeah, it hurt. I think there was something deep down in me that I was ignoring, that knew that this wasn't right. This wasn't the right move. But I don't know if it was ego or this need to be with someone, who's and she was a great girl, just she wasn't for me, obviously. But yeah, it was hard. I think I was confused too, just like why not? Like I'm a great guy. I think that was a big part of it. Like and I'm not being arrogant. I just know my competition. I'm just kidding. No, but I'm a good guy. I try my best to be respectful. I always think about my mom, and how rough she's had it, and just how I wouldn't want guys to treat her, because she was the only woman in my life that I loved, besides my girlfriend. That I wouldn't want guys to treat my mom this way, and like why I don't want to be one of those guys. I have friends that are those guys, and I try to you know call them out on stuff, but really I kind of stay away from those. Now that I'm looking back, like I didn't hang out with those guys a lot. I like stepped out of that. I'm not. I can't do this. Like, this doesn't feel right.
So bring us to, when did things switch with you and Tam being roommates? Can you remember a moment that you said, we're a little bit more than friends? Can you remember that moment? Because I love your wife, by the way. I think y'all make an amazing couple. But I think most people need to understand this actual love story, which came organically.
Yeah, I knew. Let's see. I knew when we were kind of dating other people, we would kind of harshly critique the person they went out with, even though we were joking. Like, oh, really? He did that? you know, or she'd be like, "Oh, really? Oh, she's quiet. You like quiet? Yeah." Like like little things, little undercurrent of criticism that makes you kind of second guess. But we would do it to each other, right? And so that was a big part of it. And then I knew when we would, like, we laugh, we still laugh, laugh all the time. We make jokes, some inappropriate, but we make we're always making jokes.
When I tell
And
you, they host at the church and everything.
yeah,
They are hilarious, man. Together, I mean, it's a sight to see.
yeah,
But okay,
yeah.
so
That,
y'all started
I
off.
knew that was a big part for me, though. Whoever I'm with had to be funny. Like they had to match me. I can't do all the work. You gotta be, we gotta be, right there together with comedy. And even when we get mad at each other or get in arguments or whatever, we still we're always gonna we joke about the argument later. And
Wow.
yeah, so it's yeah, I knew then when we were criticizing each other's dates, and then I also knew that we would do things for each other that were more than friends. For example, like for her birthday, I would take her out somewhere. Like I would like give her like a little shopping spree, and like we knew that there was more, and we started to connect. And when we started dating, she said she said, "Okay, so we're dating now. You got to get out." She said, "You can't live here anymore." I was like, wait, what? She said, yeah, you can't live there anymore. And then God worked it out because I thought she was joking for a long time. She was like, no, we can't be dating. And my dad lives, he lived in, where do they live? Oh, Cottage Grove. Oh my God. What is
Park,
there? It's south side.
Brownsville,
No, oh my goodness. Chatham.
Chatham. Okay,
Chatham.
yeah,
Yes. Chatham. All right. Chatham. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, she gonna be mad when she watches. Like, you don't remember where.
It's,
But
it's,
yeah, she said, yeah, my dad lived. Yeah, no, I can't. My dad know that we're dating and living together. And then like God worked it out where I booked a tour of two plays. The theater company I was working for was touring a play for a year. So I would come in and out of town, right? So we toured for a year, and then I had a friend who, by the way, just won a Tony. Well, her play that she was in just won a Tony. A friend, she was leaving, and she said, "Hey, I got it. You can have my place for a month." Like it all just worked out to where I didn't have to live with her,
right.
right? So I got this thing, then I got the tour for most of the year. Like it all just worked out, and then I I guess want to jump to me asking her to marry me.
Yes, absolutely. You're there now. Yeah, bring us all home with that story.
Bring it all. Right, right. So I, yeah, asked her to marry me. I remember it was Christmas, like a week before Christmas, and
What year are we talking?
this would be May 2011.
Okay.
So 14 years. So we've been together 14 years. So yeah. So I asked her to marry me in 2011. I remember I just got off tour, so I bought the ring on tour. Like,
What happened to the other ring? I'm sure my
oh,
audience.
I returned that. I returned it. Yeah, and that young woman felt really bad for me, and she probably learned never to tell anyone that. Oh, she's not gonna.
Right.
She'll be fine. Right. Like, right. And so yeah, what happened to that other ring? Right, exactly. Took that one back. Then I bought this other one on tour, and
Were you nervous when you did it this time?
I was nervous because I'm 0-1, so I was very nervous.
SGA, right?
Right.
He lost his first game too at the buzzer. So,
Oh, really? Just like this.
Okay, go ahead. I'm listening.
But she also had this terrible refrigerator that was rusted on the outside. So I bought her a refrigerator, brand new refrigerator, and that was her Christmas gift. Because I remember a friend, she said, "Don't let the ring be the Christmas gift." And I said, "Okay." So I bought her a brand new refrigerator, and I set it up. I had it delivered because I knew she was going to be in rehearsal, and then I put the ring in the freezer, ice, huh? Put it in the freezer, and I was like waiting for her to come home. She pulls up. She said, "Hey, can you run down and come with me to go? I got to go do some Christmas shopping." And I said, "Okay." And so I go downstairs. I drive to this mall with her, and everywhere I look, Carlos was like wedding ring or wedding dress store. Like everything around me was, I don't know if it was a sign or what. I was just looking at it, I was just nervous. She's like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm good." I'm just nervous. Then we get home, we get to her house, and we go upstairs. She goes straight to the bathroom. So I'm like waiting, waiting for her to come see the fridge and then open it. And then, I'm waiting for all, and she's taking forever. And then I have to make up a lie. It's like, "Hey, can you come look at, because I had for some reason I had some beef patties or something, or I had something. So can you come? Does this smell like
That man has beef patties. Okay, good. I'm listening.
right? So can you come smell this? Like, does this taste?" And she's like, "What? What are you talking about? What?" So she comes out, and then she sees there's no beef. She said, "Where?" Like, never. I don't even know. Then she sees the fridge. She said, "Oh my God, oh my!" And she's excited about the refrigerator. She's so excited. Hasn't opened the freezer yet. Oh my God, oh my God. Then she opens the fridge. Oh, and then she opened the freezer. She sees it, and then she runs like you could run around her living room and kitchen. It was pretty big, kind of. She's running around. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. She hasn't said yes yet. She's just doing circles around this.
That is amazing, man.
And I'm on my knee. I'm like, "Okay, will you? Will you?" Will and then I ask her, she says yes, and all of that. But
that is phenomenal, man.
it was it was pretty crazy. And I had asked her dad first, by the way. I left that out, but
Yes,
and
yes.
he passed, but he's a phenomenal man. And I remember him. The thing he asked me was, like, I don't know. Did you ask your wife's dad? Yeah, respectful, right? And I remember asking. I remember him because he's a man of God. He was Jehovah Witness, and I didn't know what to expect. And you see it on TV and movies and all that. And he said, one of his questions was, uh, "Do you He said a lot of things and pulled stuff from the Bible. It was great, but he said, "Do you like her?" And I said, "Yeah, I love her." He said, "Yeah. But do you like her?"
Right.
He said, "Because there's going to be days
Yes,
where
yes,
you don't like her."
yes.
I said, "Okay," and I received it. I understood what he was saying, but that was one of the big things, and he approved and gave me some scripture, and yeah, it was pretty crazy. And then on the way, because we got married in Jamaica, on the way there, we didn't do pre-marriage counseling. Kind of wish we had, but it's fine. We're 14 years in. It's fine. Pre-marriage counseling is too late for pre-marriage.
Talking up, right.
But on the way it was like 45 minutes to O'Hare from there, 45 to an hour, because he was taking us to the airport, and he gave like quick marriage counseling. Like, it was like this quick. He was just asking us a bunch of questions. It was, but it was great. It was great. And at first, because I was driving, I was like, what are you? Wait, are these real? Are you really?
So he didn't come to the wedding?
He did. He
Oh,
did. Yeah.
okay.
But we got there first.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we wanted to visit my grandma, and
I think that is absolutely amazing. So how did we get the kids, and when did the kids start? I just want to make sure we on target. I don't want to keep you really, really long. So.
oh no, that's you're good. I'm good. Let's see, the kid, yeah, Charlie came right before we moved out here, because we were trying to figure out when we decided we wanted to go to LA. Like, we both decided, because we had done a lot of the theaters between us. We've done most of the theaters in Chicago. I was part of a theater like, we kind of, I don't want to say we not ran Chicago. That's not true. But we done well there. We done well in Chicago. We respected, and we're like, Chicago's going to be here. Let's go do the LA thing. We don't have any kids. And one of her dreams was to work in New York, like, as an actor. Okay. So we're about to go to Chicago. Like, we've decided we're going to do it. And then that's when, by the way, one theater called and said, "Hey, we want to offer you everything we've had to audition for." Okay. Los, we've had to audition. Theater said, "Hey, we want to offer you this part, you and Tam, and you could play husband and wife." Like, offer. Another theater that I've never worked at, they offered me a role. Then another theater offered her a role. Then this show she'd been working on in Chicago was going to New York.
Wow.
They called and said, "Hey, you're more than likely going to get this. We want to give you this role." And she said, "Okay." And then she said, "I'll call you back." And then she looked, I didn't know what was going on. I was like, what's wrong? She said, they want to give me this part, but we're trying to go to LA. And I said, "Tam, LA can wait. This is what you've always wanted to be a New York actor." So she went to New York, and that was the best move, like, because she went there, she did the show, it was successful. She auditioned for every show that was coming out, and then she booked one. And while I visited her, somehow she got pregnant.
Jesus came down like, right. You got pregnant by the Spirit, but somehow
somehow I don't know how to. Right, so she got pregnant. So she books this TV show, and then she has to shoot the TV show. Guess where it's shot? once we moved to LA, guess where the TV show shot?
Where?
Back in Chicago. So we got our apartment, then we had to sublet it, go back to Chicago. She had the baby, sorry, in LA. Then we moved back, we're going back to Chicago, got a place for 6 months. I think it was 6 weeks, 6 months. And then she shot the episodes, and then we went back to LA. The show only went one season, but that's how the first baby came. That was, yeah.
So how did you manage you both being in the industry, and like was she getting more roles than you got? Like was it
Yeah.
a situation, right? Was it a situation where you all had to really compromise, what you really wanted to do based off what she was doing? Tell us a little bit more about some of your greatest work that we could be proud of. Like now, I want to be able to give you flowers. So tell
No.
us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. One thing we've always and still do for each other, we figure out how to make our goals and dreams work. Right. So if she booked something, which she did, I was like, well, I got to take care of this newborn while you're at work. Right. You go work, you pump, you do it. I knew that was the focus. You're making the money, so I'm gonna do this.
Let's
And then
pause. Let's pause. Most men probably wouldn't. Okay, so let's take father number one, for example, right? What gave you the ability? We can even take father number two
Mhm,
or father number three. What
mhm.
gave you the ability to put on your Superman cape to say, hey, I got it from here. I'll play Mr. Dad while you go and make money? Like, how were you able, what kind of mindset does that take?
I think it's connected to, I got to make this happen. I have to, from a little kid, I got to entertain myself. College, I got to do this. I got to figure this out. This just made sense. Like, this is my child. Why I can't let my ego. And the only times I thought about, oh, wait, I'm the man, I should be, was when like another man would bring it up. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they wouldn't do it on purpose. They would just be like, it would be this thing of like, oh, you're at home. Okay. Like that little undercurrent of, wait, why are you saying it like that?
Right, right. A little shot. I get it. A little slide.
Right. Right. But I knew this is what we always know the goal. We know the dream. Like, she's got my back. I have her back. I want to support her because when she wins, I win. Right. And vice versa. If I win, then she, it's not like, it's all mine. That's to get till death, it's just,
I
it's
love
us.
it. I love it.
So yeah, it was hard. It was hard raising a baby, just even though my mom was there, because I was just thinking about, your first baby, you just want to keep it alive, and you just scared of everything. Like, that was stressful, and
Um,
every little thing that she coughed, I'm like, like,
I get it.
that was challenging, but yeah, it's always been, and I think that's a big issue, I think, in marriages. It's one person thinks they have to do everything because historically or traditionally that's what it's been, and it's a new world. It's a new day. We can't do what our parents, they did the best they could, and they did great, but we're dealing with things that they never had to deal with.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right. And for again, for the sake of time, to make sure we're all still on schedule, can you tell us about some of your personal greatest accomplishments in the industry?
In the industry. Okay.
What's some of the things you're proud of? I mean, I know you have done a lot. I mean,
Mhm.
I know you have done a lot, but tell me some of the top three proud moments. I did it. Give me some of those. You told us about your wife and her booking her final dream to be able to act in New York, which is great, and I'm sure you'll get into her as well. But I'm talking about you for now. Then we're gonna transfer over to what she has done. So I'm listening.
Sure. Top three. Okay. One would be, huh. There's so many, Carlos. No, I'm kidding.
Listen, we're here. This is this is Rushmore of success.
Right. 2 hours later. Okay, Kevin, that's enough. That's enough. I have stuff to do now, Kevin. I have things I need to go do. Right. No, I think one would be, so when you join the union as an actor, like that's a big accomplishment. And I remember my wife and I, we auditioned for this play. Well, we did a reading for a play first. We did a reading, and the writer liked us so much, she asked us to do the next reading and then the next one. And so when it was time to audition, we had a leg up because we'd already been a part of the process.
Mhm.
And we both did this play and we got it. And it was our first union show together. Tam and I, both our first union show. And I remember it was a show that took place in Nigeria and Liberia, and all the black actors were talking about it because Tam would throw these parties for actors, like all these black people in the theater community would come to her Halloween parties. And I remember people talking about it and me going, "Ooh, I've been working on that show." Like everyone wanted to be in the show. So we got into that show, and because of my performance in that show, that theater company asked me to do their next one, then their next one, and then they asked me to be a company member. So
Wow.
that was it. It's really, I guess, it's a lesson in like just do your best work, and the hopefully the blessings will
No, that don't go together. That's an oxymoron. You're right. You just
hopefully.
work and the rest will work itself out. I love it. Yes. So hopefully we're gonna edit that, but not the whole. But I get it. Okay, so
Do your best work, and the blessings will follow.
100%. What else you got for me? You
So
got
that, let's see. When I started writing plays, I'd written sketch comedy. I'd been writing that, and that was good too. But I wrote my first play. That was good. But the problem was right when I was writing. Not problem. I shouldn't say that. The challenge was that right when I was writing that play in Chicago, Tam was pregnant here. So I had to fly back and forth, and I had to figure out how to have one baby here and one baby my first play, right? And I was gonna be in it, but then when Tam got pregnant somehow, when she got pregnant, I was like, right, I can't be in it. I can go get it opened and then come back. I can't do that and then stay there the whole summer. I don't want to miss that. And so I just decided to just wrote it, and that play happened. Then I did this other play, the second play that happened. That one's been kind of my Tam jokes and said, "This play is gonna be your ticket," and it's called Plantation, and it's a comedy about reparations. Okay, it
wow.
doesn't make fun of reparations, but that's been like the show that has gotten me everything here.
So when how can we see it?
Well, the play is done. That was wow, that's 2017, but
Wow,
it went through a film development and now a TV development. So I'm trying to turn it into a TV show.
I love it, man.
Yeah. So
Congratulations.
yeah, so
Well,
that
that's two. I know you got one more for us.
this one, I think I just, when I was first starting out after I graduated uh, from from uh, from DePaul, I because I'm Jamaican, I had 40 jobs, and one of my 40 jobs was that I was a teaching artist. Do you know what a teaching artist is?
No,
So a teaching artist is they get an artist, whether it's a painter. For me, it was playwright and theater acting. They could be a photographer or what have you. They partner them with a teacher in the public school system, and
wow.
and so whatever the teacher is teaching, you've got to use your art to enhance it. So if they're learning about algebra, I got to find a theatrical way to teach them algebra, and it's like a 10 week session.
That's really smart.
Yeah, or if they're learning science or the Civil War or what have you, you've got to find a way to use your art to help enhance. It was awesome. And I loved doing it. I did that for probably 14, 15 years. And what I love about it is I remember I never wanted the teachers to tell me what was like anything wrong with the kids. Like I wanted all the kids to have a clean slate, right?
Mhm.
And I'd be going to school where there's like metal detectors, and I'd go into some schools where I I'd be like, well, here we go, here we are, And some of these kids were, they just had it rough. I don't want to call them bad. It was just they've had it rough. And I remember telling teachers, like, I don't want to know anything about students. I want them all to have a clean slate. And I remember I finished the session, and the teacher came up to me and said, "Oh my gosh, little Johnny, he really turned he's more advanced than the other kid. Like, he was doing better than all the other kids." And she said, "You would never think that he came from another school because he stabbed a teacher with a pencil." Like, stabbed a teacher and a student with a pencil in their hand. Like, yeah, little kid, probably second, third grade, But I don't want to know that. I don't want to go in thinking about Johnny, And he was great because,
Right.
but I loved that. I think that's a big accomplishment because
It's a huge accomplishment. Absolutely.
the kids were learning. Like, it showed that all kids learn differently. So many times the troubled kid would be the one that's like doing better than with the exercises I would be doing, doing better than the other kids, and
I love
so
it.
yeah. So I think those are my three.
No, that's a great three. What about your wife? Let's shout out.
She's great. She's about to do the second season of a TV show called Brilliant Minds on NBC. They're about to start
Everybody
shooting.
knows that, and she does a phenomenal job, man.
Yeah, so she's doing that. So she's about to go out of town for about 9 months. And yeah, so I'm gonna be single dad again. Single dad. But it's gonna be we got
All of you need Uber Eats or something, man. Chuck
no,
E. Cheese or something. Right. Give me a call.
no.
Right. 9 months, like, is it straight or she gets to take breaks?
She'll get some breaks. So we'll be there the first. So she's gonna leave at the end of this month, and then we'll be there July, August, and then they'll start school. They'll get some breaks in there, and then she'll probably get breaks. And we're gonna go there for Thanksgiving. Canada does October Thanksgiving, but we're gonna celebrate American Thanksgiving there. And I think her family's gonna come up.
Where's there?
What's that?
Where's it been filmed?
Toronto, Canada.
So,
So my family,
you
it's
get to
perfect.
go home. It's a blessing.
Yeah. It's
That's a blessing.
definitely, yeah. I'll be able to, the kids will see their cousins, and so many family members are there. So
Okay, I got 2 more questions for you. And then
sure,
we
yeah.
right. So to digress, can you take me through how did you finally meet father number one? How did that happen?
Sure. Was 2021. 2021. So I had been asking my mom for this phone number because she and him have a mutual friend. So mom has always known him. Someone accidentally, someone told me, I won't even get into that. Someone told me about him. Okay, told me about father number one.
Just randomly?
A cousin, like a third cousin, older cousin, emailed me and said, "Hey, I haven't seen you in a long time. Send me a picture." It's like, cool, yeah. So I send her a picture, and she said, "Oh my goodness, you look just like Victor, father number two. You would never guess he's not your biological father." She put that in the email. And then
But did you know?
no, that's how I found out. I call her immediately and I said, "What? What are you talking about?"
She started some stuff, man. She
Yeah.
knew what she was doing.
It's messy.
I'm sorry.
She's the
I get it. I
it
get
was
it.
messy. It was messy. Yeah.
She got my brother and I. We got this thing. She got the party started. Okay,
She
so
got the party.
she got the party started. Okay, cool. So now that she got the party started, you called her immediately and said,
She
what?
says, "Yes, his name is this. He's this tall. He's da da da. All you.
Now, is this cousin your age, older, younger?
Older, like my mom, a little younger than my mom, probably. Yeah.
So I'm assuming you called your mom immediately after that.
Well, I was engaged, so this was 2011, and I'm about to see my mom in Jamaica. But
No, you said 2001. I mean, yeah.
I'm sorry.
21.
2021 but when I found out was 10 years before that.
Oh, okay. That's when you found out.
Yeah, I
Okay.
found out 2011. I find out, or late 2010, that email, and I'm talking to Tam about, like, oh my god, this this is crazy, and I want to tell my mom, but I don't want to tell her over the phone. I want to say it to her face to face, but she's in Canada, and we're trying to save for this wedding. I said I got to try to figure out how to go to Canada, and just doing the numbers, and there's no way I could have afforded to fly to Canada, and that's how tight it was for this
Mhm.
wedding, and just bills, everything. And so I decided to call her, and I call her, and very dramatic, I said, "Who's my father?" I don't even say hi. Just say, and she said, and her first thing, what do you think the first thing she said was,
How'd you know? Or who told you?
"Who
Or
told you?"
right.
Exactly. Who told you? And I said, "Doesn't matter. It's what, you know." I just told her, I know, and we talked, and she said, I guess he, not I guess, I know, he she comes from abuse, right? My mom does. So when he like hit her one day, like really, really hard, and like, not to get gross, but like she coughed up some, like it was just hit her. It was bad. And so she said, I'm not, no, I'm not gonna be in this. This is not happening. So she didn't keep me away from him. She just knew she didn't want to have the relationship with him. She knew that's not something she wanted to be a part of. So he's always known about me. She even tells a story of going to visit him for money, like pregnant, and so she just always knew about him. So cut to after that, I was going back and forth. I didn't know if I wanted to meet him or not. I was like,
Did you harbor any resentment towards mom?
Well, I was right. So we went back and forth. We're both crying about it because she's like, I was 21, and I said, mom, I get it. Because I was 32, 34, 32 at the time, and I said, Mom, I get it. It's just the keeping it from me. If I was 18, 15, and you had told me, I don't know, I don't know how I would feel. Probably be a very different, maybe I'd be angry at you, but I've had a good life. I have a good dad. Like it's been good, but like you lied, and like everyone knew except me. Like everyone knew, like in the family. I talked to my cousin who's a good friend, and talked to him about it. I also talked to him. I said, "Yeah, I don't know if I want to meet him. I don't think I'm good." And he said, "Well, wouldn't you rather regret meeting him than not meeting him?" And then I started to think about that. Like that makes sense, because if he died, then which later he does pass, but in this story. So sorry. I don't even know where I'm at now.
No, no. So how did you finally meet him? Was it at his funeral or was
So
it
yeah,
before?
so before, so I called him on the phone, and we spoke, and then he started to say things that weren't aligned with what my mom was saying. So then I started to get messed up, because like, is he telling the truth? Because she's been lying to me for 30 something years. Like who? And I didn't call him till 2021. So that's what, 10 years after I found out. And so I was just so I called my mom. I was like, so, okay, he said this and this. And he said, he did see me. And that's when she said, yeah, okay, yeah, I probably went to him one time when you were very little, and yeah, but it wasn't enough for me to you know get on his side.
Right, right,
And
right.
one of the things I said to him is, I said, so why didn't you, you knew about me, like why didn't you try to find me? And he just kind of said, um you know, something to the effect of, that's just the way it is, or that just the way it was. He was very excited to talk to me. And after he said that, I said, "Well, I'll tell you this: I have two daughters, and you, I would move heaven and earth to. There's no, you couldn't stop me from being in their life. You could not stop me." And then he was quiet. He's quiet, and then we changed the subject, and we just started to talk about superficial stuff like music and stuff like that. Now, when I met him, oh my goodness. No, because it was still the pandemic. So 22. Sorry, spoke to him 2020, met him 2021. And my dad that raised me, he had Parkinson's. We found out he had Parkinson's. And he was like going through a divorce, and like he was just dealing with a lot of stuff. So I went to go visit him, but I also knew this was my only opportunity, or my opportunity to go see the other dad. I didn't want to tell him about it. Didn't want my dad with Parkinson's to deal with that, with all that. So I just lied and said I'm going to go see my mom. And I told my mom, listen, I'm going to go see the biological father. And so I went and met him, and yeah, he's a little shorter than me. And he like embraced me like I had been missing forever. Like, oh, my son, my son, my. And so we go in, and he had like a cup of what do you call it? You ever had Ray and Nephew's Jamaican rum? Whenever, okay, yeah,
No.
this
But
Jamaican.
I'm going in December, so I'll have it in December.
You have insurance. Okay. It is very strong rum. So he had a whole cup of that. I don't think there was even a mixer in it, just that. He was probably nervous. That's what I was thinking. Like, he's probably nervous meeting me for the first time. And yeah, he said, "Do you want a beer?" And I was like, "No, I'm good." Because I don't want to, that might not be good for you if I sorry. I have a lot of things to say, and I want to make sure I say them clearly. And so we start talking, and I'm looking around, and I noticed like he has an eclectic playlist. Like I have an eclectic playlist, right? And he smiles a lot, and I'm like looking at him, and just really looking at him, and like, do I look like him? But I'm doing all that. He's showing me pictures, and then he starts throwing relatives at me. And here's what I mean by that. He he he, he says, you have three sisters. You want to call the middle sister? I said, sure. And so I call her. It's awkward. I find out she lives close to my dad, my actual dad. And I said, do you want to like meet up? And she said, yeah, yeah. And so we just hang up, and we meet the next day. So I'm still at his house, and I hang up with her. Then he's like, you want to talk to your other sisters? I said, okay. And talk to the twins. And he's like, oh, you want to talk to your aunt? And Carlos, the whole night. So finally he runs out of relatives to throw at me. And I ask him the question again. I said, hey, so why didn't you like try to come like find me, or talk to me?
Are you the only son?
I'm the only son. The only son. Yeah. Why didn't you try to come find? And then he said, wait, were you at the? Okay, this is a new audience. Sorry. He said, okay, so he says, how many seconds are in a year? And I said, I don't know. I don't know. And he's like, how many seconds? Think. And at this point, I'm frustrated because I'm just to answer my question. So I throw out a million. I don't know. I don't. Kevin doesn't know math. No, I throw out a million. He's like, no. And he said, 12. January 2nd, February 2nd, March. He proceeds to tell two more jokes after that and doesn't answer the question. I was just, I just didn't know what to, I guess I could have kept going. I was just so shocked that you just weren't going to answer.
Wow.
And so I decided that was it. He said, you should bring the girls over. I said, yeah. In my head, I'm like, no, that's not happening. And then I left and I didn't talk to him. I think I called, checked in one other time. And then me and the sister, when we connected, we bonded quick. We went on like 4 trips out of the country together.
Wow.
In like the span of 3 months. Like we just, because he was only with her for 6 till she was 6. And so we met his sister. So I met my aunt, and her husband and him were close. And so I got a little more insight into him. He's an alcoholic. He was an alcoholic. And so that, he said sometimes he disappears, sometimes he comes back. And so that allowed me to give him more, or have more empathy, because that's a tough disease. That's alcoholism is tough. And so that was that gave me something to, like, not closure. Closure came, I think, full closure came at the funeral. So when
Talk
he
talk to me about that, and then that's it. Talk to me about the funeral.
Sure. The funeral. So I find out he passed. Well, my sister, the the middle sister who I'm closer with, she she went to the aunt that I went to. She was in Jamaica, and she calls the sister and says, "Listen, your dad is in the hospital." And she hadn't talked to him since we left a message on Father's Day, like last Father's Day. We left a message. I wasn't gonna do that, but I was like, maybe we should. We just left church. That feels right. That feels like the right thing to do. So we leave him a message. He never called back, and so she says, "Hey, I need you to go to the hospital. He's in the hospital." And she was in a class, and she's thinking, I don't know him, I don't want to do that. But the aunt, who we love, by the way, who's old, and like, she's like, yeah, whatever with all that, you need to go, he's in the hospital, I can't be there, I'm in Jamaica. So she felt kind of pressured by, by her old aunt, like, to go. So she went, and she went there to visit. And she's a nurse, or used to be a nurse, so she knew something was going on, but he hadn't been telling people. And turns out he had throat cancer. Like, she figured it out, because everyone that was coming in, he was just kind of, I don't know, they said something's with my throat, and they were going to transfer him to the cancer hospital. So she knew for sure, like, it was cancer. And she had a lot of questions she wanted to ask him. And she said this at the funeral, because we both went up to, I read a scripture, and she read the second half of it. And then she had these words to say about her last days with him. And she said there were so many things she wanted to say to him, but God put it on her heart to ask him if he'd been saved. Like, she had, like, so many things I still get chilled, because I just remember being up there in front of these people that didn't really know us, like, because he had given different information to different people. Some people knew me, some people just hearing about me, some people for some reason thought that I decided to not be in the picture the way they approached me. So she said, have you been saved? Asked him. He said, when I was little. And he said, I've done a lot of bad things since then. And she said, yes, you have, but you can still be saved. She said something like, yeah, the Lord God is still on the throne. And so she did the prayer to get him saved. And then he passed, I think 2 days later. And I was able to speak with him, like, I think the day before or 2 days before. And, it was just brief, just asked how he's doing. And, we didn't talk very long, but I spoke to him while he was in the hospital. But then, yeah, he passed. And then I was going back and forth about whether or not I should come. And sister was like, you're not coming? And then I asked Tam, like, would you go? And she said, yes, I would go. And then got a ticket and went.
Thank God for a supportive wife. I want you to do this exercise with me really, really quick, please.
Okay.
Can you close your eyes for me real quick, right? Close your eyes. I'm going to close mine as well. And I want you to envision something, right? You and I, we just left the church, right? We go across the street to, say, BJ's or Applebee's or just a restaurant, local restaurant. And we're sitting there, we're watching the game, and we're fellowshipping, right? And this young man come in. He's about 10 years old, right? And he comes in, and he asks you exactly where the restroom is. And you gave him direction of where the bathroom is. Now I want you to open your eyes, and I want you to understand that young man was Kevin at 10 years old, after the second dad and your mom just get a divorce, right? And although Kevin is smiling and happy, asking about the bathroom, you know his whole life. What would the older Kevin tell the younger Kevin? in a brief bathroom setting. He's getting ready to leave, but you got a short period of time just to hit him with an elevator pitch to give him some motivation to move forward. What would you tell him?
I would I would say continue being unapologetically you. I think over time insecurities like seep in and slowly chip away at the dreams and your goals and like how good you are at something. 'Cause I feel like I would say, continue to believe in yourself. Like what you're doing is right. Yes, you're gonna make mistakes, but those mistakes are gonna lead to other things. They're gonna teach you something, right? I think that would
No, that's great.
yeah.
Is there any sayings that you can remember growing up that stood with you? I used to always one of my friends told me, "Hey, Los, you forgot to do the Big Mama isms." I used to always bring up something Big Mama said,
Yeah.
right? And so
Well,
this time I'm just passing the torch. Can you think of anything that was profound that helps you up into this day, like a saying
yeah.
or a scripture or whatever it
The
is?
yeah, the my one of my best friends who's also from Chicago, he said this, and I thought about it, especially when I broke up with that girlfriend. Like, what's meant for you is meant for you.
Ooh.
Meant for you is meant for you, and that's also great for anybody who's like interviewing or auditioning. It's like if you didn't get that there's probably a reason. Our pastors say something to this effect all the time. Like, just
Well, the scripture for that is all things work together for good to those who love God and called according to his purpose. That is, if it's for you, it's for you.
yeah,
And that's similar.
yeah.
So
It just frees you up. If you did everything you're supposed to do, whether it works out or doesn't work out, that's what it's supposed to be. It's yeah. If you did everything you're supposed to do, and you get it, great. If you don't get it, that can also be great, because that you might be being protected from something. Matter of fact, I said that to my mom. That's one of the things, because she hated the original, or the original dad. my Hated my bio.
OG, right.
No, yeah, hated,
Right.
and would bring up how much he hated him all the time. And I said to him, I said, "Mom, he was an alcoholic. How do you know God wasn't didn't take you out of something that was worse?" Because she was mad that he never tried to be in my life. And it's like, well, how do you know God wasn't? My life might have been different if, for better or for worse, it might have been different if he and that's the first time it sat with her, and she actually was quiet and said, "Huh, I never thought of it that way. Just never thought of it that way."
It clicked.
Yeah.
So, Kevin, I just want to thank you. I want to wish you a happy Father's Day.
Oh,
I really, really appreciate you for sharing and being open with my audience and being able to share your story. I wish you all the success in the world, you and Tam and baby girls, both of them. And, we'll be talking soon. Thank you so much.
thank you, Carlson. Happy Father's Day to you. Love to your family,
No
and
problem.
see you Sunday.
Okay. See you Sunday, man. Take care.
All right, you too.
Okay.